Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Remo Yes Man. And today I would like to talk about Destiny 2 because Destiny 2 is dying for real this time because we've actually got the end of the life announcement for the game from Bungie themselves. Now, a bunch of people are sad over this news, and I get it. If you're someone that spent the past 10 years of your life playing Destiny, you got a lot of highs and ups and downs with the game. And look, I get it, because I've been playing Destiny ever since Destiny 1 launched way back when. And I'm currently 35, so depending on how you look at it, I've been playing this game almost 1/3 my life. But for most people, I would argue that Destiny 2 really wasn't that good of a game to begin with. When you look at Destiny 2 as a whole, when the game launched, a lot of people had rose-tinted glasses and a lot of people enjoyed the game for what it was. But after they blew through all of the content, they came to the realization that there really wasn't much there. Oftentimes, when describing Destiny, you see people use the term as wide as an ocean but as deep as a puddle. And that would consist for several years into the life of Destiny 2. And the crazy part is there's a lot of people that think Bungie is going to learn from their mistakes in developing D3, but they're not, and I can prove it. When Destiny 1 launched, there was just not a lot of content there. Like, you could tell Destiny was obviously a really special game, but once you were done with the base game content, there really wasn't a lot there. This is when Bungie started engaging in predatory business practices, because what they did was they dropped the Dark Below in the House of Wolves DLC. Now, I believe both of these DLCs were $40 at the time. What Bungie did was cap your light level if you didn't own the expansions. But when you finally coughed up the money and paid for the expansions, they added barely any content to the game. I believe each of them added like 5 to 7 missions with a few weapons sprinkled in. It was an absolute cash grab, and it's widely considered to be some of the worst DLC in the Destiny franchise. Or I should say some of the worst expansions, excuse me. But then halfway past the game's total life cycle, Bungie would drop the Taken King, which would turn things around big time. Now, it was said that the Taken King was supposed to be one of the last expansions they made for Destiny 1, but they would also drop Rise of Iron and bundle that all into Age of Triumph. So when you look at the total amount of expansions we got, House of Wolves was ass, Dark Below was ass, Taken King turned things around, and Rise of Iron was good. Fast forward to Destiny 2, right? Once you blow through the base content in the Red War campaign, there really just wasn't a good endgame at the time. Now, in response, Bungie would drop the Curse of Osiris DLC and the Warmind DLC. Now, both of these expansions offered a new playable area, and they gave you a ton more to do than the Dark Below in the House of Wolves. But these expansions were still ass and are widely considered to be some of the worst in the life cycle of Destiny 2. Fast forward a few years into the life cycle of D2, with the help of Activision and I believe Raven Software, Bungie would put out the Forsaken DLC, which was basically their Taken King moment. Now, Forsaken was definitely the best expansion that Bungie put out in the life cycle of Destiny 2. It added several explorable spaces and a ton of shit to do and a fuck ton of new weapons to grind, as well as a reputation system with Spider, who was one of my favorite NPCs. I love when you would go to Spider and he would see you and he would just be like, let's make a deal. And Spider was a savage because he would give you some guys to go fight with, But whenever they would die, he wouldn't give a fuck. He would just be like, casualties of war, my friend. While we're doing all this shit to avenge our dead buddy in Cade 6. After that, Bungie would go independent from Activision, which they probably never should have done because Bungie's actually a parasite and they can't survive on their own. But they would eventually launch Beyond Light, which, I'm not gonna lie, was kind of ass. And listen, maybe you enjoyed Beyond Light and hey, good for you, but I don't know, to me, it was just kind of ass. But Bungie would also do something really fucking stupid around this time. Bungie would sunset half the content in the game that you've already paid for. And listen, maybe that contributes to my overall negativity to Beyond Light. But yeah, Bungie didn't do themselves any favor by sunsetting half the content in the game that you previously paid for. Now, eventually, in February 2022, Bungie would launch The Witch Queen. To be fair, I did enjoy The Witch Queen. The only thing I did not like is it felt a little incomplete. It felt as though if you didn't keep up with the seasonal content after the fact, you would miss big chunks of the story. And so it was around this time that I started missing a lot of the story. As I missed more and more of the story, I would get less and less invested. But in 2023, Bungie would go on to release Lightfall. And I'm not gonna lie, Lightfall was absolute ass. I don't like Strand. I didn't like any of the NPCs. I didn't like the new explorable space. I just didn't really like anything about this DLC. And then the final shape would come out. The final shape. Look, I never got to finish playing the final shape because when you're playing these DLCs or these expansion packs and you leave for a while, depending on when you come back, Bungie will rip you out of your campaign mission and instantly throw you into the seasonal campaign mission to begin your seasonal journey or get the artifact or whatever the fuck. It's really jarring and it makes it so you lose your engagement with whatever your last activity was. And in my case, it just so happened to be the final shape. So I can't say how good the final shape was because I never got to finish playing it. And when you're playing these expansions, you want to be near max level. That way your gear drops at max level. But instead of letting the game die with the final shape, Bungie would go on to release Edge of Fate and Renegades. Now this made it so I couldn't power to max level without buying the new content. Obviously, I'm not gonna give Bungie more money, so I just ended up in the situation where I stopped playing because I completely lost my engagement with the game. Listen, Destiny 2 was never that good of a game. It might have been you, but it probably wasn't good for most people. It was good as long as you were a payer the entire time. And the crazy fucked up part is, you guys think it's going to be different with Destiny 3? Look, I get it. You guys are masochistic and you just like abuse. But fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 7 or 8 times, and I must be a Destiny player. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.